Mr. Speaker, sir, quorum is now present.
Quorum having been confirmed, we proceed with the business of the day. Clerk, let's have first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is no business to transact under this order.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, there is no communication from the chair. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is no business to transact under this order.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions. Mr. Speaker, sir, there are no petitions to be presented.
Next order.
Order number 5, other papers. Mr. Speaker, sir, there are no papers to be laid before the Assembly.
Next order.
Order number 6, other notices of motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, there are no notices of motion to be given.
Next order.
Order number 7, other statements. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is a statement response by Honorable Paul Geshawabaire, Chairperson, Committee on Health Services.
Very well, Honorable Paul Geshawabaire, Chairperson, Committee on Health Services. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have a response to a statement on the status of the ambulances, their drivers, and the emergency medical services in the county. Mr. Speaker, on the table of content, we have table of content, list of abbreviation, definition of term, background, up to conclusion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, statement sought pursuant to Standing Order 46 2C on the 19th day of October 2022 on Peter Maina Mwangi sought a statement from the Chairperson, Committee on Health Services concerning the status of ambulances and the emergency medical services and the drivers attached to the ambulances. The statement sought was as follows. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to issue a general statement pursuant to Standing Order 44 and also seek a statement under Standing Order 45-2C from the Chairperson, Committee on Health Services addressing the following concerns. aware that Article 43(1)(a) of the Constitution provides that every person has the right to the highest attainable standard of health, which includes the right to health care services, including reproductive health care. Or paragraph 2 of the same article provides that no person shall be denied emergency medical treatment. Further, aware that paragraph 2 of part 2, the second schedule of the Constitution of Kenya provides that health services, including county health facility and pharmacies, ambulance services, and promotion of primary health care are part of the devolved function of government. Noting that the county government of Nyandarua under the Department of Health Services has always been allocated funds for the provision of health services, which includes purchase and equipping of ambulances to aid in the provision of emergency medical services, among other programs. Concerned that there has been a public outcry on poor provision of emergency services, especially the manner in which the ambulance services are operated, allegations of mismanagement of the said vehicles. Further concerns have been raised on the employment status of the drivers assigned to the ambulances, as most of them have over a long period not been considered for permanent employment. Now, therefore, I seek a statement under Standing Order 45(2)(c) from the Chairperson, Committee on Health Services. The following concern: A, status of the county health personnel, including a list of drivers, terms of service, and duty stations. B, the number of ambulances in the county at the stations they are designated. C, the status of each ambulance, especially in relation to the mechanical status, pharmaceutical stocks, and other related medical equipment in each ambulance. At D, whether there is a proposal in place to absorb the casuals engaged in emergency medical services into permanent employment. Mr. Speaker, in our report, response, we have an annexure, list of annexure. Annexure 1, we have drivers in the Department of Health and vehicles they are attached to. Annexure 2, we have staff establishment in County Department of Health. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Committee on Health Services, one of the sectoral committee, established under Standing Order number 200 of the Nyandarua County Assembly Standing Order with a mandate and function to look all matters related to county health services, including services, medical services, and in particular county health facilities and pharmacies, ambulance services, promotion of primary health care, licensing and control of undertaking that sell food to the public, refuse removal, refuse dumps and solid waste disposal, cemeteries, funeral parlors, and crematoria and burial of animals. Mr. Speaker, the committee comprises of the honorable member as listed, and the secretariat we have Ms. Gladys Nyawira Karuiru, the committee clerk. Mr. Speaker, there was term of reference when undertaking this report, Mr. Speaker, and it was as follows. One, we were to write to the Nyandarua County Government Department of Health Services seeking information as requested by Hon. Peter Mwangi Maina. Two, we were to scrutinize the response submitted by the department. Three, we were to have a consultative meeting with the Department of Health to discuss on the way forward. Four, we were to submit to the House a report analysis of the statement as well as observation for further action. At this point, we acknowledge the Committee of Health Services, and I appreciate the honorable members for rigorously executing their mandate of representation and oversight. I also wish to thank your office and that of the clerk for facilitating the committee and offering the relevant technical expertise to the secretariat in pursuing its core mandate. I extend my appreciation to the members of the committee for their commitment. I believe that we shall continue to expedite our mandate with diligence and goodwill for all our electorate. Finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is my pleasure and duty on behalf of the committee to present this statement response to the House for adoption. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee through the office of the clerk wrote to the department seeking information as sought in the statement via letter dated 2nd November 2022 and referenced as such. The response was received at the office of the clerk via letter dated 1st November 2022 had referenced as such. Thus, with the activities as set out in the terms of reference, the committee, with the support of assigned secretariat, started activities towards responding to the sought statement. The department response received and analyzed by the committee is as follows. Question on status of the county health personnel, including list of drivers, terms of service, and stations. Mr. Speaker, on this matter, the department responded as follows. The current establishment of healthcare personnel is hereby attached. The list of drivers currently in the department is hereby annexed. And maybe we need to move to what is annexed, Mr. Speaker. There is Mr. Speaker, maybe I need to first, let me first tackle B so that we can go to what is annexed, because the summary of what is annexed. The number of ambulances in the county at their stations as they are designated. Mr. Speaker, on this matter, the department responded as follows. The Department of Health currently has 11 ambulances distributed to the 5 sub-counties as follows. We have vehicle registration number and facility. We have 18CG250A, it is in JM Karaoke Referral Hospital. GKA 492T, Mirangini Health Center. 18CG013A, Siribuet Health Center. GKA 492T, Gano Health Center. 18CG271A, Shamata Health Center. 18CG205A, Daragwa Health Center. 18CG066A, Getabush Health Center. 18CG015A, Wajohi Health Center. 18CG054A, Engineer County Hospital. 18CG208A, Karagatha Health Center. 18CG016A, Henny Health Center. Mr. Speaker, 18CG034A, which is a truck Isuzu FSR, has a driver named Francis Mulema Donga, and the terms of engagement is permanent and pensionable. Station is Daragwa, in Daragwa sub-county. Also, we have a cashew driver by the name Christopher Minor, who is a cashew, also based in Daragwa. 18CG271, which is a Toyota Land Cruiser ambulance. Driver name we have Francis Karemi Madenge. Terms of engagement is permanent and pensionable in Shamata, Daragwa sub-county. Also, we have a cashew, John Gogi cashew, who is in Shamata, Daragwa sub-county. We have 18CG205A, Toyota Land Cruiser ambulance in Daragwa. Charles Minor, who is a cashew. We have Samuel Delito, permanent and pensionable. He is also based in Daragwa. In Daragwa sub-county. We have 18CG035A, Isuzu FSR truck, and it is in Kinangop. It has got a cashew by the name Gary Delito. We have also that one in Kinangop. We have Gilbert Jogona, permanent and pensionable. Sorry, that is 18CG054A, a Ford ambulance. That is in Engineer Hospital. We have Gilbert Jogona, and the terms of engagement is permanent and pensionable. Engineer Hospital in Kinangop sub-county. Also, they have contracted Nahashon Mwangi, who is also in Engineer Hospital. And also we have another driver by the name RX Gure, permanent and pensionable, Engineer Hospital in Kinangop sub-county. We have 18CG208A, a Ford ambulance in Karangadha. The driver, we have Solomon Kamau, permanent and pensionable. And Karangadha is in Kinangop sub-county. We have 18 CG 016A, a Nissan ambulance. The driver is Isaac Samuel Nganga, permanent and pensionable. It is in Heni, Githafai. That is Kinangop sub-county. And we also have another cashew there, Samuel Macharia. We have 18 CG 250A, Toyota Land Cruiser ambulance. That is based in JM Hospital or Karau sub-county. We have a contracted driver by the name John Delito. We have a cashew, Paulo Kashungi. And we have a permanent and pensionable, Paul Jaga. We have 18 CG 255A, Isuzu D-Max. Also, this one is based in JM. We have in JM, we have Paul Mwangi Shege, permanent and pensionable. We have John Moremi, Akashuo. Also, we have GKA 492T, Nissan ambulance in Merangine. We have Christopher Angombe, who is the driver, permanent and pensionable. We have also a cashew by the name John Kiratu. And who is also in Merangine or Karau. We have John Jiri Kamoko, permanent and pensionable, in Siribuet or Jororok. And also, the one in Siribuet, we also have a cashew. The registration on number of the Nissan ambulance is 18 CG013A. Joseph Kimondo is a cashew in Siribuet. We have GKA 463P, a Toyota Land Cruiser ambulance in Ngano with Michael Geshoke Mateo, permanent and pensionable. GKA 656Q, Nissan Double Cab, that is Grace Duta, that is permanent and pensionable, or Jororok. So I think, Mr. Chair, it is mixed up because I can also see the Beyond Zero Isuzu. I don't get it whether it is an ambulance. That one is not an ambulance. And when I go to the quorum for the ambulance, we have Nissan ambulance. That is 18 CG066A, Robert Mwai Jenga, permanent and pensionable. This one is based in Nigetabush, in Kipipiri sub-county. We have 18 CG015A, that is Nissan ambulance, that is based in Wanjohi. It has got Akashuo, Evan Mungai, and also Simon Gatia Gashiri, who is permanent and pensionable. And that one is based in Kipipiri. So, Mr. Speaker, when we go to question C, the status of each ambulance in relation to the mechanical status, pharmaceutical stocks, and other related equipment. Mr. Speaker, on this matter, the department responded as follows. All the ambulances, Mr. Speaker, they are functional, and they have availability. When we talk of availability of emergency drugs and requisite equipment, all of them have resuscitative drugs, oxygen, and equipment available. On question D, whether there is a proposal in place to absorb the cashews engagement in emergency medical services into permanent employment. Mr. Speaker, on this matter, the department responded as follows. engagement of cashiers on permanent and pensionable terms falls outside the scope of the department. Our engagements are limited to recruitment of persons on a contractual basis, with the function being spearheaded by the facility management committees and the hospital boards. The current engagement is a 3-month contract that is renewed upon satisfactory performance in the duties assigned. Engagement of personnel permanent terms or absorption of those currently engaged on casual basis is premised in the county public service. Mr. Speaker, there is committee observation. The committee, in the process of analyzing the above information, noted the following: that one, the county has 11 ambulances which are functional and distributed across the 5 sub-counties. It was further noted that all of them have all resuscitative drugs, oxygen, and the required equipment. Number 2, it was established that most of the drivers working in the county department of the health are employed under permanent and pensionable terms, and only a few are hired on contract or casual terms. Honorable Speaker, through a site visit conducted to JM Hospital on 29th November 2022, and a consultative forum with the CCM Health thereafter, the committee learned that the Department of Health is critically understaffed across all cadres, that is doctors, nurses, and other health professionals. In fact, currently, the staffing levels is less than half of what is required by the 4-5 hospital. Honorable Speaker, in emergency services provision and ambulances, the committee learned that, number 1, most of the ambulances are in level 3 facilities where no charges are attracted. Thus, problem in maintenance and the fueling of the ambulances. 2, that the roads which lead to these health facilities are poorly maintained, causing the ambulances to break down easily. There is therefore a need to repair those roads to enable the ambulances to serve for long without getting mechanical problems. Number 3, that ambulances are few, causing them to serve a big area. Thus, there is need to increase the number of ambulances in all the sub-counties. And number 4, there is lack of a clear policy to guide the county referral system. To this end, the committee noted with great concern that there is need to increase the budgetary allocation for the department to cater for purchasing of new ambulances, fueling and maintenance of the same. Further, it was noted that there is need to repair all roads leading to all health facilities to minimize breakdown of the ambulances. Conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the committee is working to ensure that emergency health care services are available to all county residents. This will be achieved by ensuring that the ambulances are well maintained for timely provision of emergency services to the clients. Customer satisfaction surveys to ensure that customers' needs for emergency services are met will be done often. The committee is going to consult with the County Public Service Board to ensure that the staffing levels in JM Hospital and across all the county health facilities are addressed. Mr. Speaker, I need to add something on cashew worker. Mr. Speaker, we are recommending that the Committee on Public Administration to take over the matter on issue cashew, because this squarely follows under their mandate, so that they can ensure that the board, the County Public Service Board, as well attend to that issue, so that it may be brought to an end. Mr. Speaker, I think Annexure 2, on Annexure 2, there is staff establishment in County Department of Health, Mr. Speaker. And that one I will not go through, Mr. Speaker. I'm calling upon the members to go through that annex to see how the human resource in the Department of Health is, and the need to hire more. It is supporting, because maybe I look at it, Mr. Speaker, a small analysis. You look at it, you find that like when you go to let me just pick one there. When you go to that annexure, Mr. Speaker, you find that when you go to pharmacist, a designation like pharmacist, job group, that is job group M, in post 1, optimal number 8, variance 7. Mr. Speaker, these ones tells you where we are in terms of staffing, Mr. Speaker. When you go to, we require optimal number, like the pharmacist, we require 8. But in that particular group, we have only 1. So variance is 7, Mr. Speaker. When you go to, that is a pharmacist, when you go to like to the specialist, we have the dentist, dental officer, who is in group M. We have 2. We require 5, so variance is 3. When you go to chief, we have senior chief dental specialist. We require that one. We have 0. That is 0. When you go to now chief dental specialist, we have 0, and at least we require 1, but we don't have. When we go to the medical officer, we have 12, but we require how many? 20. So variance of 8. That is our state. I don't need to read through, but I'm sampling, so that you can see the need for us as a county, maybe to fast track this, the budget allocation, and also to hire. We hire. Like now you see, like health record information management assistant. This job group G. We have 0, and we require how many? 10. We don't have. Mr. Speaker, when you go to nursing officers, you can talk of senior nursing officer. We have 0, and we require 34. We have 0. We require 34. When you go to principal nursing officer, we have 0. We require 15. When you go to director nursing services, we have 0. We require at least 1. So, Mr. Speaker, the annexure is well elaborated, and members, you can just familiarize yourself with this, so that we may be able to fill the gap. We have the radiographers, we have physiotherapists. Like now we have 0, we require 5, and so Mr. Speaker, this is It is it's a worth statement, and I appreciate the member who requested for this, because it will only help us to improve our facility. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Very well, Honorable Ngeche Wabaire, Chairperson, Committee on Health Services. I now call upon Honorable Peter Maina Mwangi Maina, the seeker of the statement, to confirm his satisfaction or otherwise with the response.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I do agree with the observation made by the committee. But Mr. Speaker, much now well, I have noted that at some point, Mr. Speaker, the committee gave the Public Administration Committee a responsibility, Mr. Speaker, whereby it needs to be thoroughly addressed. Because, Mr. Speaker, we are addressing a very grave issue of the casual laborers. Mr. Speaker, these casual laborers have been working for this county for years. Employment is done by the Public Service Board. Then they are left out, Mr. Speaker, without consideration. And Mr. Speaker, it's high time we understand that these are young men and boys from this county. Second, today as we are talking, they have more than 8 months. They have not received their salary. And the other cadres, they are receiving their salary, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, it needs to be addressed. The second issue is the issue of driver. Yes, I understand that each and every ambulance, it has 2 drivers. One who is a casual and one who is a permanent and pensionable. Mr. Speaker, I would like you to bring you to this point. All these drivers who are casuals, already they have letters in their pocket that by January they won't be reporting. The one who are now the permanent and pensionable, they were all employed in the month of August. That means all those drivers who have been having those ambulances for years, more than 10 years, they have been rendered jobless. They don't know where they are going. They have not been given any stipend to go home with. So, Mr. Speaker, that's something need to be addressed by the department so that at least they can be given a very good set-off rather than just releasing those people as if they were not working for this county. Last but not the least, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of the Public Service Board, whereby, Mr. Speaker, as much as it has been, the committee has recommended that the public administration take up the issue. We have also to engage the Public Service Board to make sure that those people who have been working for this county as casual laborers, let them be absorbed as permanent and pensionable, or they may be given a good term of employment so that at least we can be able to give them life in what they are doing. So, Mr. Speaker, I do believe that the committee has done its work on the issue of ambulances, but still on that issue of the drivers who are going home, Mr. Speaker, I wish it needs to be well addressed rather than just letting them go. And in fact, they call day in, day out. They were all here. We met them with the chairman the other day, and also the leader of majority was here, and they are really crying that we have been giving letters. We are going home. How can assembly assist us? We've been with these ambulances more than 10 years. In fact, the one from Daragwa, Maina, and the one who is having the other one also from Mairenya, They have worked with us ambulance for 10 years. But now, they are going home. Another one from also Wajohi. They are all going home, Mr. Speaker. So this House needs to give direction on how those issues will be tackled. So, Mr. Speakers, I'm comfortable with what the chairman has tabled, but apart from those issues, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Very well, Honorable Mwangi. Honorable Mwangi Nyaga, Majority Leader.
Yes.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to react on this response. Mr. Speaker, sir, it's of great concern that we are addressing this issue of cashews for people who have been holding or working in a very critical department. This is one of the departments that we cannot afford to have cashews or workers who are demoralized. Look at what they are involving themselves with. These drivers, as my able deputy majority have said, they are working in a department whereby they are availing people who are sick. And you look at the situation, you will find that they are also somehow mentally sick. Because when you stay for months without pay, when you will be working when your brain is not well coordinated. It is of a great concern that the human face, which ought to have been seen to be done or to be invoked, was never happened. I feel I really pity with them, because you work for 10 years, then someone comes and is given an opportunity, and then you are let that jobless, and you are given a termination letter to go home without factoring that these are also human beings who belong to this dear county. Something, Mr. Speaker, sir, need to be done. They have cried. They have brought their concern to some of the members of this assembly, and they are all pleading that if nothing comes out of this assembly, if we don't resolve on the way forward, they will really be suffering. Mr. Speaker, sir, as much as they are also crying, we know this is something that did happen just because the regime, there was campaigns, and it is during that period that we had campaigns that these things did happen. I think some people sense that they are getting out of the government, and they had to take now the crude way to reward their cronies and relatives with permanent and pensionable jobs. This ought to be receded. I think the parliament has the power to recede this decision, this kind of decision that was undertaken without consideration of the fact that it is exploitation of some human life. So I think it is still within the power of this assembly that we can do something to salvage the situation. Another critical issue that has not really come out clearly in the response is about the cashews. I think the seeker of this statement was following on a statement or on an issue whereby we have cashews. Cashews, that is sweepers, isn't it? Sweepers. Some of the cashews who are who are cooks, who have stayed for 8 months. These are people who have families. These are people who are paying rents. These are people who have kids in school. I wonder how the rest of the cashews are getting paid within this county, and yet in a critical department like health, we subject these cashews to a lot of mental agony. Something must be done. Otherwise, we might try to brand ourselves in another different perspective. But when these people are crying, for sure, I don't think it will be the best way forward. However, I know very well there is commitment from the governor that these cashews need to be paid, maybe before they proceed, maybe before they proceed to Christmas holiday. But it is my plea that this ought not to ever happen again, whereby somebody who has been working for the government can stay for 8 months without pay. But I know we have a government which is responsible, and will address the plight of these cashews. Thank you. Going forward, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I know very well. I know very well we have goodwill, and something will be done. But it was a great concern that something need to be done. And I know, because this is a sensitive government which ought to respect the plea and the pleading from our people, I know something will be done through this assembly and even through the executive. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Very well. Honorable Babu, Juliana Babu, specially elected from Morogoro, and second chair, Speaker's panel. Proceed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I want to contribute to this motion, or rather the statement, sought by Honorable Mwangi. Clearly, you can tell that this is a statement that has well been responded by my able chair, Honorable Ngeshe. And I want to request the chairpersons of the committee going forward to follow that route. You know, detailed response and factual. We visited JM Hospital, Mr. Speaker, and I just want to contribute on one matter, the issue of staff. One thing we lack in our county through the health department are staff. You will find clinical officers, Mr. Speaker, nurses doing the work of doctors. My plea, without taking a lot of time, because I'm a member of the health committee and I played a key role in generating and collecting information for that response, I would want to request this honorable house to make a deliberate resolution to empower the health department through staffing, Mr. Speaker. JM Hospital only collects close to 100 million per annum in revenue. Without specialists, it is just most recently, and I want to congratulate and echo His Excellency Honorable Badilisha Kiari Moses. It is just recently that he has employed a surgeon. It is just most recently, Mr. Speaker, that we have a pediatrician. Meaning, even the revenue we have been collecting previously, we have been doing that without the specialists, meaning that the hospital could even do better. I emphasize on revenue, Mr. Speaker, because I'm also a member of the Finance Committee, and one of my key mandates is to make sure that this county generates revenue so that we are able to get development money from the national government. So I want to request this House to make a resolution to task the County Public Service Board, because I understand yesterday the Committee on Devolution and Public Service was tasked with the mandate of appointing, or rather confirming, the County Secretary and members of the Public Service Board to expedite that matter so that the board can be fully, what is that word? Doyen. Yeah, fully constituted. I was consulting my senior, the Doyen himself, the Honorable Member Kayani, for that word, but I fully constituted, so that this staff can be engaged as soon as possible. Those who are on casual basis, Mr. Speaker, should be employed. It is, of course, natural for a governor to come in and, of course, come on board with his people. But one thing we need to task His Excellency Honorable Kerry is that even the people who are already employed as citizens of this country and residents of Nyandarua County. Therefore, it is important, even as he considers bringing his people on board, to already confirm the people who have been in service. So I want to request that the people who are already in service to be confirmed before other people are engaged. Well, unless we need skills and competencies that we already don't have. But of course, if we do, Mr. Speaker, it is important that they are confirmed. And when you engage a new person, you make sure that you are not, you're not doing duplication of already services that we have. We know, of course, it is an easy way to engage a driver. So if we have drivers, let's not engage more drivers. Let's consolidate such resources and funds to employ more nurses and more doctors, Mr. Speaker. So I don't want to deliver much on that matter because I know members want to contribute. I will rest at that. Thank you so much.
Very well. Two members were standing, and thank you, Honorable Member. I was about to give you for the ranking reason, but the fact that you have ceded, we commend you for that. Honorable Lucy, specially elected member from Karau.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll first start by applauding the committee. They did a good job. It's an eye-opener. Nyandarua, we can't be talking about health services year in, year out. This committee, as Lily showed us, what is it we were doing very wrong. Mr. Speaker, you can imagine you need 10 people to work and you have one. So that's why, Mr. Speaker, we'll always have a queue. We'll always have our people not getting medical services in Nyandarua County. Mr. Speaker, the seeker of the statement needed to know more about casual laborers. Mr. Speaker, I'm one person who has got friends who are casuals in this county. It's important this house tries to find out how those casuals are paid. I have a friend, the payment is given to a person and the whole amount doesn't get to the casual laborer. You can imagine the meager amount of money you are giving that casual laborer. And again, that meager salary doesn't get to him. So, Mr. Speaker, we are doing a disservice to our people. So, Mr. Speaker, it's really important. I love the way Honorable Kiari Badilisha has put a lot of emphasis on health services, Mr. Speaker. So moving forward, what is it that we can do right for the health services of this county? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mohende, county member from Magumu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like first to acknowledge and appreciate the Committee on Health, and also appreciate the seeker of the statement. And mine, Mr. Speaker, is just brief to look if the chair will have another moment to clarify, because on page 14, the chair said that the employment terms are for 3 months. But when you now come to the appendix, you'll find that there are drivers that are casuals, and then there are drivers that are on contract, and then there are drivers that are permanent and pensionable. So maybe the chair will clarify on that. Number two, as the statement sought, there was that deliberate inquisition, the first one, that you be even given their places of work, their places of duty. Unfortunately, the Honorable Chair has given only for the drivers. Because the question is on page 5, status of the county health personnel, including a list of drivers, terms of service, and duty status, duty stations. You'll see that the status of the county health personnel was the first. So maybe if the committee has that information, it could help us as a house to further interrogate this statement. Another issue that is arising is the issue of cashews. Mr. Speaker, cashews in our county, most of them are in the health management committees. Those health management committees don't charge, but they receive reimbursement from Inua Jamii, Danida, and other appropriations from the county government. So the question then the chair and the committee would lead to look into is, once the money moves from CRF to the health management committee account, what is happening? Because that is where the management of the cashews at the health management levels, committee levels are. Finally, I saw there is an issue of we don't have a referral policy. But to my understanding, and I stand to be corrected, is that for now, patients in our county are only referred to Kijabi, Nakuru PGH, and Kenyatta. So maybe only the distribution of the workers, but I think there is that policy that maybe needs to be developed. But furthermore is that they have done a good job, only those few clarifications. Thank you.
Honorable Kayani, member for Githafai, and a ranking member in this house.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also rise to agree with the Chairman Health in the report that is given. It's a report that is worth noting, very well thought out, very well detailed. Honorable Speaker, I must remember when he was asking for more time and more time, onto the more time he sought. And now I understand why he was keen to get more time. The report that has been submitted, I'm also in total agreement. It's well thought out, well researched, quite informative, thought-provoking, and many such things that would elicit reactions from across the floor. Honorable Speaker, the majority did say there's a great concern to really have the Assembly intervene on the way the cashew workers have been handled, notwithstanding them giving the services they've been able to provide. I note with great concern the contribution, especially by the drivers of the ambulance in Henny, who have been very consistent in the work. I also want to appreciate this report at this time when there was an outcry in Githafai, particularly Henny area, when the ambulance was relocated to Engineer Hospital, where it was supposed to serve the sub-county. I'm also aware that there lacks a policy guideline on how that resource can be shared across the sub-county, notwithstanding the fact that individual wards did contribute resources towards the purchase of those ambulances to be able to operate within the wards. And therefore, to be seen to consolidate this service will be, in a sense, denying those particular wards their rightful shares, their rightful contribution towards ensuring they have that service. However, the very reason why you should have an ambulance stationed in a particular place is so that it is able to respond to emergencies. It will be unethical, if I may say, for an ambulance that is meant to be in a particular ward not being able to respond to an emergency in a neighboring ward. I think From where I sit, as much as the ambulance was meant for that particular ward, it should also be allowed to attend to other emergencies, because at the time when that ambulance is broken down, then you can also borrow from a neighboring ward. And therefore, there has to be a policy guideline on the sharing of that resource. We need to also to compensate probably those wards that did contribute their contribution towards the purchase of that particular facility, because it meant they compromise other development or agenda so that they are able to secure that. So I'm urging the chair of this committee to look into that possibility of having a policy on the utilization of ambulances across the ward. If it is possible, then we could have each ward having an ambulance. I am aware that there's one in, now one in Nyakeo, which is just neighboring the Fai. Not too sure there could be one in Jabine. I'm also not aware there's one in Magumu. But I do know there's one in Engineer. And therefore, maybe the sub-county of Kinangop might be only having 3. As to whether they are enough is a question that the committee can address itself to. And if we need to localize them to be able to attend to the emergencies within a cluster of wards, like the way we have in the unit, machineries for the unit, we may need to look into that so that we are able to utilize these resources maximally, and each one of them is able to cover for each other. But then as we do that, remember that the wards that did contribute their resources towards that should never feel shortchanged. My position is that more ambulances should be sought, or rather to be able to cover those wards that have not committed to purchasing one. We go back to the issue of the casual workers. It's a thorny issue, really thorny. Thorny to the extent that the budget members who could be here will be very worried on the ballooning wage bill and how to contain it. That's number one. Number two, as they consider the ballooning wage bill, that should never compromise the need for provision of essential services. And ambulance and health facility workers provide the very essential services. They can be called in the middle of the night to respond to a health issue. And therefore, the way we handle them, the way we treat them is of paramount importance. You can imagine a demotivated staff or worker being asked to respond to an emergency, a health-related emergency, when for years, for months and months, he's not been able to receive his allowances of payment or the wages that are supposed to come to him. Not to mention some of them, like in my case, I am aware in Henny, some of the health workers are supporting some of their family members who are terminally ill and who are on medication. And if they are denied an opportunity to be able to get their allowances or their wages, then it means you're also affecting that other member of the community whose health is compromised. And that particular staff or that particular worker is not able to support that particular member of the family. And therefore, that does affect the well-being and the welfare of the sick person. I know there was a funding from the Leader Mama fund, donor, that seems to be a bit compromised, and that is where the wages for the casual workers was coming from. And there has been quite a critical challenge in that particular funding of that particular donor. And therefore the committee, the department through the committee of this Honorable House should look into looking for alternative resources to be able to meet the needs for those particular casual workers. I would only say, as much as we don't want, we would want to see the board addressing this issue with a very fair manner. I would also want them to reconsider the competencies of the casuals that are engaged. I know some of them were politically engaged, or they are engaged with a political motivation. I would want the board to rise above that and be able to consider staff or casual workers that have the relevant competencies to be able to be engaged in health facilities, because we cannot afford to compromise the health of our people by engaging people who are not adequately skilled to handle those kind of things. I know some of them, the work they do does not require specialized skills, but there are those that do require specialized skills. Let competencies be of paramount consideration. As one Dego Ahome did used to say when he was in the Speaker of this House in the first and second, he did say that meritocracy should be our guiding principle when we are implementing some of these things. I do echo and agree with him fully that meritocracy should supersede political exigencies when certain matters are being considered. With those many remarks, I want to commend the work that is done, and I know that the Honorable Member for Central is equally happy, him being from the medical health. And probably going forward, we should be calling him Daktari this time around for people, not animals, so that he can fit within his competencies. For those many remarks, I support. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kayani. Now we go to our able Honorable Kadolumo, the Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I rise first of all to thank first the seeker of the statement, and secondly to most sincerely thank the Committee on Health headed by the able chair, Honorable Gecha Wabaire. Madam Speaker, I rise to add on the observation and that has unearthed serious and grave matters concerning health. Madam Speaker, health is a right of every Kenyan. And going by the observation of the committee that is so factual on the understaffing of the health personnel, Madam Speaker, Nyandarua County is subjected to injustice. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 sought to address this issue of health and directed that health is a right and every Kenyan is entitled to affordable health care, which is not true concerning Nyandarua. Madam Speaker, I've ever said that my former career, or what I was using to earn my bread, was a taxi driver. And now I understand through these investigations by the health committee why a patient takes more than 10 hours to be admitted in our only purported level 5, which is not a level 5, going by the facts that have been drawn to our attention. Madam Speaker, when a patient takes 10 hours, the sufferings are aggravated. Imagine a patient who was taken there for admission for serious illness or sickness and have not eaten for 10 hours, that patient is subjected to more suffering. Actually, some die before they get admitted and their life is lost. That is how serious it is. Equally, the caregivers, those who were helping the patient to be admitted, by the end of the 10 hours, they are equally sick, and some are even need to be admitted. Madam Speaker, we cannot belabor the need to relook into the understaffing as well as the terms of engagement of the the other staffs who are helping in the health facilities, the casual laborers. It is injustice to have somebody work for 10 years and dismiss them without the rightful benefits they are supposed to accrue. Madam Speaker, the fact that they have stayed for 10 years tells you they are good workers. They have been able to discharge their duties satisfactorily. Otherwise, they would have been dismissed within the first 3 months. Madam Speaker, having worked for 10 years, they got enough experience and they are also trained in the job. Recruiting others, we are talking of casuals who will need to be retrained. Therefore, Nyandarua County will ever keep on training staff, and a trainee is giving half services, the needed services, Madam Speaker. So this way we still got very raw services given to our patients, and there is underperformance. This can only be addressed by absorbing the casuals who have a good experience and have trained in the job and equal to the tasks given to them. Madam Speaker, this issue of casuals will also, when they are absorbed, we will limit the political patronage. Political patronage is dangerous, Madam Speaker, because once a casual is brought by a politician, she or he knows that they have a godfather. Therefore, their performance is still wanting because they kind of know there is somebody up there to protect them. They cannot be sacked, and therefore they will not work as expected. Madam Speaker, we need to add this. But my main concern is about understaffing. The fact that we are having a raw deal matters health services. What informed devolution was to decentralize services, to decentralize power, to decentralize resources. Health services as decentralized in Nyandarua are wanting. This has rendered Nyandarua a marginalized county, and marginalization is injustice. I want to draw the attention of this House that there is equalization fund that is there for grab by the counties that have been marginalized. If it is about finances, that the amount of money we have is not enough to recruit more staff that we need, then I challenge this House that we petition the Senate to know why we have not been considered for equalization fund. Madam Speaker, I want to draw the attention of this House to the fact that there are counties who have more than 3 level 5 hospitals. And to mention, Kiabu County, they have Kiabu level 5, Thika level 5, Gatodo level 5, and many other equipped hospitals which are more equipped more than our JM hospital, which we refer as level 5, which is not. And for this, we need the equalization fund so that we can have the needed facilities. There are counties that have been earmarked for equalization fund, and they have benefited from this fund since inception of the new constitution from 2010. Madam Speaker, this is a lot of injustice done to our county. I challenge our leaders in the national level to rise up to the occasion, to see the sufferings we have been undergoing. That is why, Madam Speaker, we have been taking all our patients to the referral hospitals in Naivasha, referral hospital in Nakuru, referral hospital in Nyahururu, which is in Laikipia, And more than taking the revenues there, because we are contributors in the National Health Insurance Fund, more than taking the resources there, we subject them to expenses that are not necessary when they have to travel outside their counties to go and seek health services they are deserved to have. Madam Speaker.
Point of information.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, do you require that information from the Doyen?
For the benefit of this debate, I require, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you know, the Deputy Speaker was becoming too emotional, and I noticed that if he dances, if he's not stopped, he might cause us to cry, and that's why I sought to kind of give him further information so that he can take a breather and a sip of water, because he's treading on a very delicate line, a line that is touching the nerves of our feelings. I just wanted to tell him, to let him know that Level 5 hospital attracts huge amount funding from the national government. Each county that has a Level 5 hospital, I don't know how many million they get for running those Level 5 hospitals. So Nyandarua not having one, it means we're also missing out on those funding. And therefore, just as you get more emotional, kindly take that up and charge us to the level that we need to act. And I know that's where you're getting us. Thank you.
Point of information, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Lesha Opondo.
Madam Speaker, when Honorable Kayani is speaking, we all grieve. Level 5 hospital attracts a lot of money, Madam Speaker. Not only the Level 5 hospitals, even universities. I get to understand that university is funded to a tune of 2 billion shillings, 2 billion shillings in every financial year. I think Nyandarua is marginalized. The historical injustices are of no magnitude. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I believe you are well informed. You can continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for more
information. Madam Speaker, it is important. We know that we are in Kenya and the rights we are entitled to. Madam Speaker, when we talk of denial of equalization fund, which I believe maybe we have not claimed, and I want to challenge the leadership of this county, why we have not claimed what we rightly deserve. Madam Speaker, I would like anybody to tell me the difference between Nyandarua and Mandera, the difference between Nyandarua and maybe Wajir. Why they receive equalization fund and we don't? By taking all our patients to referral hospitals outside our county, Madam Speaker, we are rendering Nyandarua to be a hardship area. Hardship area that requires the staff who are currently working in our health facilities entitled, they are entitled to hardship allowance, which they don't have. But the exposure of this information, this report by the health committee warrants them to claim the hardship allowance. Equally, Madam Speaker,
Honorable Matthew, what is your point of order?
I'm raising on a point of order concerning contribution of our Deputy Speaker. You know, it should not be as a campaigning mode. Just hit the point and then the other members can contribute. Thank you.
Honorable Matthew, substantiate your point of order.
You know, Honorable, our Deputy Speaker is just narrating stories here in the House where we are supposed to hit on the point, and then maybe he should be given timeline. Just be favorably on the point.
Honorable Matthew, have you said? That point of order has been overruled. I request the Deputy Speaker to continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for protection.
The matters in discussion are grave. There are no stories. This is about a report on Health Committee that has exposed grave issues, grave matters worth noting and clear actions to be taken, Madam Speaker. Hardship area, that is Nyandarua County, matters on health. Because, Madam Speaker, when a patient in my ward has to be referred to Nakuru level 5, or Naivasha level 5, or Nyahururu level 5, Madam Speaker, they don't have enough fare. I am supposed to go deep in my pocket and fund them. As they are member of a county assembly, they are able to reach. Imagine contribution for more than 10 patients or more. That makes me also a member of county assembly working in hardship area. Madam Speaker, I want to rest this case, but not until I make this point clear. That this House should, with emergency, petition the Senate on means and ways of getting equalization fund, the fact that we are marginalized and we require that equalization fund so that we can have the necessary staff in our medical facilities. The staff that are required, this is not luxury, this is not extravagance, this is a need. We are entitled because healthcare is our right constitutionally. And Madam Speaker, as we debate, I challenge this House to come up with a motion on the capping of the budget on health services so that we can have either the cash was absorbed, or if it is an issue of money, they should be absorbed. Thank you.
Point of information. Madam Speaker, sir.
Honorable Benji, I am not giving you. Have your seat. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I wish to notify the House that the leadership of the House, including the majority leader, the minority leader, and of course not excluding the Deputy Speaker, are entitled to a contribution of at least 30 minutes per motion. So it is what the Deputy Speaker has done is appropriate. However, I will allow Honorable Benji to give the point of information to the House.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Point of clarification from the chair. Over that matter you've ruled.
Yes, Honorable Kayane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when you sit on that seat, you are sitting on authority, a seat of authority. I just want also to bring you to speed that Honorable Matthew is also in leadership. And therefore, I should have also told him that he's also entitled to 30 minutes, because I would imagine Kasib is also in leadership. Thank you.
I have a seat, Honorable. I want to rest this matter.
Clarification, Madam Speaker. Clarification.
Point of information.
Now,
Clarification.
let's have some order. Let's have some
Point
order.
of serious
Honorable members,
information.
switch off your microphone, Honorable Thenji and Honorable Mathu, Commissioner. I am particularly on what is stipulated in the standing order. We don't dispute that the Honorable Mathu is a commissioner of this House and is entitled to minutes in the discretion of the Speaker. However, I will give Honorable Thenji a minute to point out his point of information.
Thank you, Madam.
Point of order.
Honorable Thenji.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As we are debating here, we have a very sensitive matter that has come from the same hospital, especially from the JM, that two bodies have been unveiled from the roofs of the mortuary, and yet we are discussing to make orders. At this time, I'm told that there is a child and a body of a mature human being, adult, which is hidden at the roofs of the mortuary. Yes, and all the police enforcement, they are there. So, Madam Speaker, that's a very important issue for this House to consider.
Thank you so much, Honorable Thenji. We have the chairperson of the Health Committee who will deal with that matter later. I now want to take this opportunity and give Honorable Mathu, the Commissioner, an opportunity to.
Maybe before the Deputy Speaker wind up, I need to lay my concern concerning this motion. There is concerning the volunteer health service. Maybe this assembly should give directive to the executive to pay the self volunteers service. They should be paid. We have arrears of even more than 10 months that are not paid. We need the cashews that are working on it is a point of information to our Deputy Speaker. The cashews that are working on our dispensary, they are not paid even to a tune of 10 months. They are our daughters, they are our sisters, they are our mothers. They should be paid immediately. Lastly, I can maybe furnish the information to this House. Maybe can we work on the exact institutions, that is the hospital, that they are working, instead of coming mushrooming with a lot of dispensaries. We have the need, but it is not timely. Let us furnish the exiting dispensaries and health centers. Lastly, we need, I see my chair agriculture is there. Let us not take as if the health department is the heart of Nyandaro. Let us also consider agriculture as the backbone of Nyandaro people, because if we enhance the NHIF.
Point of order.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, what is your point of order?
Is Honorable Commissioner in order to bring another debate in the midst of another? I mean, we are in health.
Thank you.
seek your guidance.
Thank you. Honorable Commissioner, confine yourself to the statement sought by Honorable Mwangi on the state of ambulances and staff.
Madam Speaker, I'm giving information to our Deputy Speaker because I believe in myself that if we can be able to grow our people in Nyandarua, they will be able to pay NHIF that is catering for health issues, and then we don't have these problems of maybe dispensaries level 5 and level 4. It is in information to you, Deputy Speaker, because you are on whatever. Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I confine myself and say that we need to come as a brainchild of this county to look in ways that we will support the needy person, that the poor man should be able to pay the NHIF. We advocate for payment of the NHIF. I request the House, the honorable members, to do the advocacy for the payment of NHIF. I have a case scenario of patients in my ward that NHIF will pay for a tune of 500,000 instead of doing the harambees, because we, the honorable members, we are exposed to maybe medical harambees that we cannot afford, because my net payment is 144,000. If I pay for several harambees, I don't have something. Otherwise, I rest my case and say we need to come with a negotiation and also a proposal that this house, August House, come with a policy to tame the harambees that we have. And we pay NHIF. I rest my case there. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Thu. Honorable Mathu, my eye was captured earlier by the Honorable Member for Kalfainji, Honorable Thu. However, I will give a few minutes to the Honorable Member for Wanjoi Ward, and then we proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'm a member. First of all, I want to declare interest that I'm a member of Health Committee. And Mr. Speaker, I also want to appreciate the Speaker of the State. Statement. Maybe I don't want to take a lot of time because members have really discussed on this matter, but I wanted to say categorically that, Madam Speaker, you realize that initially the way, before devolution, the way health department was structured from the national government, this is where they started the issue of classifying the health facilities. From now, the referral, the highest referral hospital at level 6 to the community facility. We were disadvantaged because previously, you know, we come from a provincial administration where this region was catered for by the Nyeri PGH as the referral for the region. And so when the devolution came and health was devolved, we were left without a facility. Nyahururu was termed as the headquarters for Nyandarua, and the only big level 4 hospital was Nyahururu District Hospital. And when the devolution came and Nyahururu was taken away by Laikipia, Nyandarua was left without any level 4 hospital. And so it happens that we were marginalized when it comes to the term of health facilities. And I agree with the Deputy Speaker when he said that we need equalization fund, because the money that was put for development of health facility that was intended to cater for the people of Nyandarua, the Nyahururu District Hospital at level 4, just go with Laikipia County, and we were left without any major health facility. It is high time now that we are trying to bring up the issue of JM. That is a matter of concern. The other matter of concern I want to raise is that you realize that Nyandarua originally, from the national government, it has never been registered as a hardship area. So it is not competitive when it comes to human resource, and especially from the government. There is no allowance for hardship. So any person who wants to go working, you realize that they find Laikipia a better place to work in than Nyandarua. They find Nakuru a better place to work. So we are not able to attract the specialists. There are the specific specialists in the health sector that we need to have in Nyandarua. But when we go advertising, the kind of surgeon, the kind of ENT specialist and all that, when they look at the package, the enumeration package, in comparison with Laikipia, in comparison with Nakuru, they find that they better go to other counties. And it's like that these human resource people or the specialists are limited. They are limited within this country. So we are disadvantaged at that level, Madam Speaker. But I also want to say that I think we also need to sit down as a county and come up with very serious discussion on how we are going to provide resources for our own referral hospital at JM. Madam Speaker, we also need to sit down as a county and think how we are going to raise our revenue. Because you realize at this report, the number of staff, it is indicating that health is understaffed, and I agree with them. We don't have a senior dentist in the whole of this county. We need one. But then, if you look at our salaries, it is ballooning. So we also need to sit down and ask ourselves, how do we raise our revenue so that when we raise our revenue, we are able to employ the kind of specialists that we need in the health sector. It is not a discussion about health alone. It is a discussion that we want to widen this discussion because it is affecting other sectors. If the health sector is going to come and demand the specialists and the staff that they want, we may not be able to provide if our budget is not supporting the same. So these discussions it overflows from now health, it goes even to budgetary issues, it goes to resources, and we need to look at it in a very big picture. And I know, and I don't want to preempt maybe what the finance committee is doing, but I know in other counties, for example, Laikipia, the major own source revenue is health. And if we are able to do that in Nyandarua, then we can be able to accommodate more staff because we have money to employ them. So it is an issue that we need even to go outside this plenary with the executive, sit down and look categorically and seriously the issue of health in Nyandarua County. Appreciating that we were marginalized, appreciating that we are coming from very, very low background. How do we raise a good referral hospital? A lot of money is going to other counties because we cannot provide specialized services to our people, so they end up going to Nakuru, they end up going to private hospital, we lose revenue. How do we do it? We need a very serious and academic discussion even outside this plenary. Madam Speaker, I know that this assembly is up to the task and we should lead. I can see visionary men and women in this assembly who can be able to take this county to the next level. So I am calling upon great men in this and women in this assembly to open up. And now we change the focus of hating the executive, but we now start telling them this is the way, because they might not see what we are seeing. So we are blessed and we welcome all these discussions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, sorry.
Thank you, Honorable Chair for Budget. Now we go to the youthful member from Gadenji Ward, Honorable Thuo. Then we proceed to Honorable Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all,
please switch on your mic.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, I want to appreciate the good job undertaken by the Health Committee in preparing such a conclusive statement and response. Madam Speaker, I was one of the concerned members. Having one of the drivers coming from my ward, is my constituent, goes by the name Joseph Maina Kimondo. And from the response, I come to learn that he was on a casual basis although I've known him for the 10 years, being the driver of the ambulance 18 CG 013A. Although I came to learn that some of these drivers, they were shortchanged during the transition moment and the transition period, and by concerns herewith, now that he has been classified as a casual worker, these casual workers have not been paid for the last 6 months, and it was echoed by Honorable Peter Mwangi. And to this effect, Madam Speaker, it was to my concern that in the whole county there were 5 drivers who had these issues, and they have been issued with letters of termination. And for this purpose, on January they will not be reporting, and so they are being chased away without even the benefits. This case should be addressed properly. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Fu. Now we go to Honorable Joyce.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to appreciate the seeker of this statement and the good work that has been done by the Health Committee in bringing the response. I had the opportunity of also visiting JM Hospital on another matter of following up on the registration of persons with disability, because as you may know that the whole of the Nyandarua County is only JM Hospital that has the mandate of registering persons with disability from the county. And the purpose of that was trying to find out, because we have very low numbers of those persons that have registered. And we were trying to find out the mechanism in which we could even go to the ward to do registration. And as has been brought out, there is huge understaffing, like what they informed me that for the rehabilitation unit, that's the physiotherapist, the occupational therapist, and the orthopedic technologist, they only have 1 per each of these departments. Basically, that would mean if we were even to carry out the exercise of going to the wards and doing this, that would mean they have to close these departments. So I'm agreeing with my fellow members here that the issue of staffing is a matter that needs to be looked into for us to be able to offer the services that are required in the county, because health is critical in every aspect. So if we are to offer these critical services, we need to ensure that we have good staffing, and also, as the budget chair said, we also need to increase revenue. And I remember even in the discussion, there were like, and it has been said, 85 million comes from the JM Hospital as revenue. So it's only right that we also look into the staffing so that the services offered can be improved. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Joyce. Now we go to Honorable Duncan.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
What is your point of order, Honorable Kadongo?
Madam Speaker, I have been standing for the last...
Have your seats, Honorable Kadongo.
I wanted the point of order to be driven home. This House has 2 divides, Madam Speaker. Keep looking on the left side.
Noted. Your point of order. It is important to note, honorable members, that Honorable Dan was here since we proceeded to this House, Honorable Kadongo. So, Honorable Dan, can please continue.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker. For information, Madam Speaker. To the House. Point of information, Madam Speaker. No, the House doesn't want. Kadongo was up.
I kindly direct that the Honorable Dan continues.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise first to congratulate the speaker of this motion on this issue of casual workers for working for a period of 8 months without being paid. So this issue is very touching. I felt it's very touching to me.
and should be dealt with urgently. Like we all know that a hungry man is an angry man. So when you consider for a person working for over 8 months without being paid, I think we have to put in a consideration that that person is really it's very much unfair, considering that person is a parent, he or she is a parent, he has kids who are depending on them. So I think on our side, we as assembly, I think we have to put that issue to be considered urgently. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much. Clearly, you are a man of few words. Now we go to Honorable Caroline, the specially elected member.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And first, I would like to appreciate the Committee for Health for giving us a well-detailed report. And I would urge other committees to follow what that committee has done. And but also, I would like to ensure the department to ensure there is no corruption in health services provision and address access to medical emergencies without demanding for down payments from patients. Also, to see improvement of public health and sanitation department, enhanced preventive treatments, health awareness campaigns, and free medical checkups and camps. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Carol. Now we proceed to the Honorable Member for the Shao Pond.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you know when you are on that chair, you have the prerogative of making the decisions. But I would kindly request you borrow from the Speaker, Honorable Iganjo. When he's giving opportunities for member to contribute, he first looks at leadership, seniority, but Madam Speaker, not the time that the person has come to this assembly.
Switch off on your microphone.
But I will not repeat what I have said.
Absolutely.
Madam, don't know from which quarters. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And as I had said, this is a very sensitive issue which needs to be addressed. And Madam Speaker, what I would say is we will come here, debate with a lot of vigor, with a lot of enthusiasm, Madam Speaker, but maybe follow-up at times doesn't happen. And I would request this assembly, Madam Speaker, not to be the barking dog that doesn't bite, Madam Speaker. We need to follow up with the Committee of Implementation such that the things we have discussed here are followed. Madam Speaker, it pains me and it pains every honorable member who is standing in this house, Madam Speaker. Can you imagine having not been paid for 6-9 months, even as honorable members, when our salary is late, we actually demand for it even before the days have expired. This is a person who has not been paid for 6, 7, 8 months. Madam Speaker, these people are really suffering. And it's the high time that the executive we are in a change movement, Madam Speaker. And change movement should involve even in the health sector, such that these people get their pay. Another painful thing, Madam Speaker, it's against the labor rules. You have worked as a cashew for 10 years, Madam Speaker. You don't have gratuity, you don't have pension, you are just told to go home. You get a thank you note to go home after serving the county for 10 years. This is something which needs to be revised. The driver who, Honorable Duo, mentioned as Maina Kemondo. He has served me. I know him. He has been coming to the Shaupondo to serve me when I need the ambulance. And on another note, Madam Speaker, an issue which has not been touched is the issue of even these ambulances. At times, we need to fund that line in a better way. You need an ambulance. You are told it doesn't have fuel. The honorable members, the doyens in this house will tell you the many times they have put fuel on those ambulances. You are also required to give an allowance to the nurse and also to that driver, Madam Speaker, that driver who has not been paid for 9 months. Maybe he has not eaten. So you need to look at his welfare as he takes the patient to the next referral hospital, Madam Speaker. This issue is very sensitive and it should not just end as a debate. We should ensure the health committee, the chair, who I know I can't see him in the house, but the message needs to be relayed. Let us do a follow-up. We should not just debate. Let us act. Let us not just talk. Let us not just give empty rhetorics in this house. We should make a follow-up so that our people don't suffer anymore. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Shaupondo. Now we proceed to my MCA, Honorable Ibrahim Murungaro.
Madam Speaker, I want to commend the Health Committee for giving us a detailed statement on the status of ambulances, even on medical status within the county, and therefore on the issue of the report, I would like to take on one issue where I have seen we don't have a clear policy of how we can manage our ambulances within the county. It's my humble request that this house, as we come back from the recess, that we are sufficed with a proper legal framework on management of the ambulances within the county. And therefore, on that request, is good that we do things in the right way. And as we support the change manifesto in this county, let's have clear policies, even on employment of casual laborers, because if you take off the case in the plenary, that a casual laborer can work for 6 months without pay. Probably this was what was happening within the county. Should we continue doing the same? This is a new government. We should have new managements of all these. And therefore, I rest on that immediately we are back, let's have the clear policies on these issues of management and also on casual laborers. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Now we proceed to the Chairperson, Agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I raise to support the report. And Madam Speaker, I have concern on issue of casual workers. Madam Speaker, you know, in my area, that is Ghana Shopping Center, we had a young boy who was given that job to clean in that Ghana Health Center for 6 months without getting anything. That young boy was cleaning even in toilets, maternates, and also in every
compound of that area. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, that young boy was not yet paid, up to date, and it is very painful to give a young man or a person to work and you fail to pay that man. Madam Speaker, it is also very painful on issue of health facilities. In my area, that is Sharagita 1, we have a facility that is Sharagita Dispensary, where we have just one nurse to operate that facility. And also we have another dispensary, or a Mutia dispensary, where also we have one person. This is very challenging. It is high time now the new government we have to look up well on the issue of health facilities, so that people can live in a healthy way. Madam Speaker, let we work seriously on this issue. Let those people who are supposed to pay those workers to do the necessary, so that they can receive what they are supposed to get. It is very ashamed for somebody who is getting on a monthly basis, getting his or her salary, and yet you are not paying somebody who is getting just 300 in a day, and because of no reason. So I support, and that now the Department on Health work seriously on this issue. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Now, I want to believe that the concerns raised through this statement sought by Honorable Member Kagwe have duly been noted by the Committee Health Chairperson and the membership, and therefore wish to call the clerk to call in the next order.
Order number 8, other motions and bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is no business to transact under this. Madam Speaker, there is no business to transact under this order.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member. The House, now having no business to transact, stands adjourned to today, Wednesday, the next day, the day of December, until afternoon at 2:30. Thank you so much.